Hey, everybody, Cam Mayville here with Rug Wash Pros. Yes, the home of rug rescue with my good buddy, Mr. Nine Toes, Paulie Lucas. How we doing, Paul?
Doing good. Good to see you.
It's good to see you, buddy. We had a great Rug Room Live last night. And, one of the topics that we ended up getting into a discussion about is pH. And the reason we did is there was we watch things in different groups in our group and stuff. And when we see these things come up, we go, that's kind of an interesting topic. And that one kind of grabbed me a little bit because, I don't know near as much as you when it comes to this stuff. You're so good at explaining it. But when I was reading the comments, I'm kind of looking at them going, it was foggy to me. It didn't seem accurate. And so that's when I tagged you and you jumped in and really gave some good answers to that and commented on it and explained to people a little more in detail what they really needed to know. And so today I just wanted to take it, not a ton of time on it, but I really wanted to hit on this subject and let you explain a little bit more about pH. So if you would take some time and let's try to get everyone to understand this a little more and give them the important parts about it.
Sure. Yeah, there's a lot of misinformation out there, and it's confusing. And sometimes, we try to simplify things so that it's easier to communicate. But if you simplify it too much, then you really aren't getting the information across. And so there's confusion. One of the things I think is kind of cool about the study of pH, it's relatively new. I mean, 1909 is when papers were written by a guy, I think his name was Sorensen. I think I pronounced that right. And they really came up with this idea of the pH scale. Now, it's always been there, but to actually understand it so that we can use it, so you can put numbers to it, because you got to do the math. So he came up with this scale to measure pH. And really, to really make it simple, the pH scale is a measurement of the concentration of lone protons. So a lone proton is hydrogen plus. So that is the most abundant element in the universe. It's about 73% of all matter in the universe by weight. And if you want to count atoms and molecules and look at it that way, it's actually 92% of all the atoms in the world, in the solar system, in the entire universe. So pH measures that. How many protons do we have? So if we take a liter of solution of water, a liter of water, and we have 1 gram of lone protons, then that is called a pH of 0, extremely acid. If you have half a gram of free proton in there, then that is a pH of 7. And if you have 0 grams of hydrogen protons, then it has a pH of 14. Now, there's two sides of the coin. You have hydroxyl groups on the other end, so it does the opposite. So if you got a pH of 14, that means you have 1 gram of hydroxyl group. If you have a half a gram, that's pH of 7, because it's a balance between the two. And then obviously, if you have no hydroxyl groups, it's a pH of 0. So that's really what we're measuring. Now, why is this so important? Well, when you have protons that are by themselves, they're extremely hungry, thirsty for electrons, that OH negative. They want those electrons and they will steal them. So if you put an acid that's really low pH, a 0 or 1, it'll just destroy things because it's eating up those electrons in that material to get those electrons, because nature seeks equilibrium. And so if you go to the other side of the coin, and you have a pH of 14, 13, 14, way up there, then that means you don't have enough protons. So those hydroxyl groups are just tearing things up to get that balance. And then if you're right in the middle at 7, then you have balance. So when you put it on materials, it doesn't really affect it as far as damaging things because it's already happy. It's already got its equilibrium. So that's kind of the basic layout of that. And it gets, really complex, and people start saying things. Even if you go on the internet and look things up, they'll say like, well, pH stands for the power of hydrogen. Well, you got to realize the guy invented this. He did it. They came up with it in Germany, and the guy speaks French. And so for him to start using letters for English thoughts, that's just it's just not what he was doing. But that simple symbol of P simply stands for a proton. So it's a proton. It's not power, it's a proton. And of course, we got hydrogen is the big factor because those are your lone protons, hydrogen negative. So that's really what pH stands for, is talking about protons and how mainly hydrogen is what we're dealing with there in that water. Okay, so now let's take it to the next level, because this is where it starts to become applicable in our lives. You also have to think about the substrate. What are we cleaning? What is the material? And so even though the pH is 7, it's called neutral, and it is, some of our fibers require something else. Like wool, for example, loves the pH of 5.5. That's its balance point. That's its isoionic balance. So to really achieve neutral for wool, we should be at a pH of 5.5. Because if we go to 7 even, it's really out of balance. So then we start attacking that wool. So we want it, the balance point for wool is 5.5. If you go to silk, it's 4.5. So it's a matter of pH of our water, because pH is always going to be measured with water. If it's a solvent, it doesn't have pH. But the balance point for silk is 4.5. So we got to keep those things in mind. Now, another issue that we run into that is where we get into trouble with pH is on cellulose. Rayon, by the way, is almost pure cellulose. So when we're talking about cellulosic or plant-based fibers, its balance point is on the alkaline side. So it likes alkalinity. And usually us rug cleaners, we're thinking about, we want acid because wool and silk are on the acid side. And then we do things like acid rinses. They're very common. They try to stabilize color with acids. And so, we're thinking all fibers like acids, but actually cellulose doesn't. And one of the big factors with cleaning cellulose is cellulosic browning and discoloration and yellowing. So what a lot of people do is they use acid to fix that. Okay, and it does work, because the lower the pH of lignin, the less color it has. The higher the pH of lignin, the darker it becomes. So acid makes sense. We go, let's go ahead and keep it acid, because that'll make it disappear. But it's still there. And so really what we want to think about when we're cleaning these cellulosic fibers is lignin does not become water soluble until the pH of 7.8. So when cleaning cellulose, we should really be at about 8.5, so that we can take that discoloration and dissolve it and wash it away. And what happens is, in our industry, because of our traditions and learning from others and hearing things at schools and reading papers, everybody wants to spray acid on it. But what happens is that lignin is still there. And so when humidity and cleaning and life goes on and the pH goes back up, all of a sudden you got browning again. And that's why a lot of people say it seems to get worse and worse. Browning gets worse and worse with time. The more times it browns, the worse the browning gets. Well, that's because you never got rid of the original lignin. So by cleaning at an alkaline side, 8.5, maybe 9, what happens is you wash away that lignin. Now, if you want to do an acid treatment after you wash it with alkalinity, then that's okay. But again, you're still not getting rid of it. So if you have a problem and it's not cleaning, it's just browning by itself, actually hydrogen peroxide is a better choice, because we can use 3% hydrogen peroxide on cotton and on rayon. And what it does is it literally destroys the color of the lignin. Or you can use reducing agents like dye stripper. And that, what it does is destroys the lignin. So it's not there anymore. So it's not going to come back when the humidity comes back or when somebody cleans it again or it gets wet. You've actually dealt with it. And when you make things out of lignin and you want to not have them discolor, that's what the factories do that process cotton and other cellulose, is they usually wash it with high pH, higher temperature, and reducing agent. And what happens then is you wash away all that browning and all those things that can happen so that you've solved the problem. And that's why some rugs, you clean them and they come out beautiful and you go like, wow, I'm good. I got this down. And then you get another one, especially with rayon, because some rayon that's made by like the cupramonium method, all the lignin's been removed, or the lyocell method, all the lignin's been removed because they reduced it and got rid of it, or they used mercerization on the cotton, which gets rid of all the lignin. So now you can clean it over and over again and you don't have problems. So pH is a very valuable thing to have in our industry, because once you understand what it is, then you can use it to not destroy things, or sometimes you can use it on purpose to destroy things, to get rid of soil or to get rid of discoloration. So it is a good thing to understand.
That is awesome, Paul. I really appreciate you coming on today and talking about this. Guys, real quick, we'll mention before we close out, just want to let everybody know the Rug Care Accelerator online class has been launched. It is out there, $4.99 for you to take this class. You can run your employees through this class, get everybody up to speed. Maybe you even want to polish up your skills and try to get some more information. But it is an absolutely wonderful, wonderful course. A lot of great feedback coming. Also in October, we've got Lynn Tall doing her Rug ID class in Omaha. November 10th and 11th, Paul and I are going to be back at it in Omaha, Nebraska, doing a 2-day class there. So if you're looking for more education in the rug industry, please go to Rug Wash Pros, go to ChemMax. Got a lot of information in both places. We'll be here to help you out. So again, this is Rug Wash Pros, the home of rug rescue, ChemMax, and good old Rug Wash Pros. We appreciate you guys. And until next time, keep it clean.
Thanks a lot for watching. Come back.